Okay, AEW WrestleDream 2024. Obviously, I didn't get to cover last year's show because I was in the hospital, but anyway, just wrapped up. My phone may go off at some point. I'll hopefully try to avoid it as best I can. We got a lot of matches to get through here, so we'll start things off with our kickoff show matches. First up was the Ring of Honor Television Championship match, Atlantis Jr. versus Brian Cage. The Code of Honor was observed for this one, which I can't say happened for the other Ring of Honor title match that happened on this show. Anyway, Cage countered head scissors into a drop kick, or a tilt-a-whirl into a drop kick, my mistake. Cage had a spine buster. Atlantis Jr. came back with a couple of head scissors, a nice power slam. Cage hit a power bomb into a Falcon Arrow. And then Atlantis came back. He tripped Cage on the top rope, hit a torture rack bomb, used that to get him into a torture rack position for his kind of torture rack bomb. And then Atlantis Jr. went to the top rope. Cage came back, caught him, and got him into a lighter bomb off the top rope, and then finished off with the drill claw for the 3 count and the victory. So Brian Cage is now Ring of Honor Television Champion. I know Atlantis Jr. held this for quite some time. You know, it's nice to see Brian Cage being able to do something, because again, he's one of those guys I think could have been used for something, and then, you know, I know he does a lot on Ring of Honor now. I think when he re-signed, that was mainly where he was going to be going to. So again, you know, he's always been one of those big and smaller pond guys. I know, I mean, obviously he was in what is now TNA, was TNA. You know, he was world champion there. You know, and he was a threat very early on in AEW, but then he, again, like so many guys get on that roster, and it just gets, everyone gets lost in the shuffle, which we'll get to when we get there. Anyway, our next match after this was Harley Cameron versus Anna Jay. Saraya was nowhere to be found. This was a decent little match. Jay hits a standing hip attack, which is called a hip check. A hip check, that is. Cameron bit Anna Jay to avoid being thrown off the turnbuckle. Jay then used the ring post for a bow and arrow hold, but then got pulled into it, banged her head off of it. Cameron came back in a nice side Russian leg sweep. Cameron hit a swinging neck breaker after that. Jay hit a flipping neck breaker after that. Eventually, Jay got into the corner, and Anna Jay got Cameron in position to hit a gory bomb for the 3 count and the victory there. Again, a decent, solid little match there. Nothing too spectacular, but definitely a good women's match, I think. It does show the burgeoning strength that is now happening in the AEW women's division. They had a little backstage vignette where Mercedes Moné showed up expecting a match, which I think a lot of people were expecting. Only if I think they must have been playing off the internet chatter. If you don't know, they're admittedly one of the missteps AEW has really had here is a few months ago they had Willow Nightingale was the TBS champion. Chris Statlander turned on her after she lost the belt to Mercedes Moné. Statlander and Nightingale had a feud. Statlander won and is now turned back to being babyface after being a heel to feud with Mercedes Moné, and they had to cobble together this cheap explanation of Statlander was so worried that Willow Nightingale was getting obsessed with Mercedes Moné, the former Sasha Banks, in case you're wondering, that she let evil heel manager Stokely Hathaway get into her ear, and she made a mistake. And it's like, that's... anyway, our next matchup is MXM versus the Acclaimed, the Battle to End Scissoring, as it's being called. MXM, the former Maximum Male models in WWE, Mansoor and Mason Madden. Again, he had many names in WWE. He was Dio Madden. He was Mansoor was Mansoor. Mace was Mace Massey, as Maximum Male models. and they had promised a special third guest who was going to tilt things in their favor, and it turned out to be Rico Constantino. Good to see him doing well. I know he had a lot of health problems a while back, so again, it's nice to see him being active and looking pretty good. You know, of course, Billy Gunn had to he had to call back to the fact that it's like, oh yeah, your big threat is the guy who tried to get me married to another man, and of course he has to apologize to Bowens, the Acclaimed. So yeah. Anyway, right off the bat, they did the 10 corner punches. Cassidy, right? Oh no, sorry, that's the wrong match. That's the next match. Anyway, like I said, Rico got in some cheap shots. Caster hit a hip attack and a DDT combo. Got to tag in Bowens. Bowens hit a series of Rough Riders. MXM came in and hit an axe kick powerbomb combination on Bowens. The Acclaimed hit the Scissor Me Timbers. They fought back on the outside again. Rico got involved. Billy Gunn came in and hit Rico with a Famouser, and that enabled the Acclaimed to get the hit the mic drop for the 3 count of the victory. Very good, fun match. A lot of shenanigans on the outside. It did maybe drag on a little too long. And our last kickoff show match, which they didn't announce until the kickoff show, so there's no graphic for it. So it's the Dark Order and the Premier Athletes taking on the Conglomerarunners. That's Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, and the Outrunners. Like I said, don't have a graphic for it, so I hope you enjoyed something orange and Raven from the Teen Titans. Anyway, right off the bat, Tony Nese hit a nice chop to Magnum's throat. Magnum of the Outrunners. I'm aware of the Outrunners. I still haven't quite caught their names yet. Sorry. The Outrunners do the 10 corner punches. Orange Cassidy wants to join in. He only does 1. Evil Uno attacked Cassidy on the outside of the ring. Cassidy came back at a swinging DDT on Nese. Kyle O'Reilly broke up attempt to pin Floyd of the Outrunners. Cassidy came in, hit the orange punch. Again, Sterling, the Premier Athletes manager, interfered. Everyone beat up on Sterling. The Outbrothers hit the Worldwide for the 3 count of the victory. Afterwards, Kazuchika Okada announced that he was medically cleared, but he's not on the show, so he can't defend his championship. Kyle O'Reilly came up and said, hey, well, why don't you face me on Wednesday? Okada laughed, and they got into a fisticuffs, and Christopher Daniels had to break that up. This match was really kind of cobbled together. I got respect for everyone involved. I do think the Outrunners are very entertaining, and they're old school 80s shtick. I do wonder if they're probably going to work a lot better as heel. Like, they're good as baby faces now, but if you pull the trigger and turn them heel, they're going to be huge. And again, that's kind of where I think they fell apart a little bit. Likewise, I'm surprised the Dark Order is still together at this point. Like, what was the last noteworthy thing they did before this? Yeah, the only thing I can think of is when the Blackpool Combat Club turned heel. It was last year. Sorry, and, they stepped up a little bit because the Elite were initially out of it, and that's about all I could really say. So yeah, definitely was a little bit of a. Like I said, it's just I'm not worked up for these groups as much as I really should be. Again, all good performers. It's just this match felt very last minute and probably did not need to be on the show. Okay, moving on to the show proper. Our first match was Jay White versus Hangman Adam Page. White managed to play very calm very early on. It's clearly he wanted to attack Page, but he managed to lure him into something of a trap. White came back in a multiple drag and screws as he had tripped Page down. He had taken Page down, and then as Page was laying on the ground, White was doing the dragon screw knee bar. Page came back with a big lariat. Page hit a diving forearm on the. Let me try this again. hit a big boot and then drove forearms into White's head. White came back. Page was going to go for the buckshot lariat. White was smart enough to kind of either roll out of the ring or roll way too close so that Page can't do the rotation for the lariat part. They fought on the outside of the ring. Page tweaked his knee at one point, rolling out of a German suplex attempt. Like I said, they fought on the outside of the ring. Page hit a DVD on the apron. Again, he went for the buckshot lariat. White countered that into another dragon screw through the ropes. Page hit a power bomb on the ring steps. They fight. Jay White came back, hit a shin breaker on the corner of the entrance ramp. So the ramp is like this. He dropped White shin first on basically the corner part there. Anyway, they fought back into the ring. White avoided. He hit a Blade Runner, but then Page came back, had a Deadeye. Unfortunately, he tweaked his knee. He went for the buckshot lariat, but he took just long enough for White to recover and counter it into a Blade Runner for the 3 count and the victory. So, very good match, very fun match. Nice to see Jay White get his win back, I guess, get his vengeance. At the same time, it's one of those, I wonder what exactly they're doing with Adam Page, which I'll probably have to get to a little bit later when we cover the main event. But it was always my idea that Adam Page was the one being groomed to now make this big run to the World Championship. But now that doesn't seem to be in the cards. And, exactly, like, he finally beat Swerve Scott. So, again, this should be the big thing to start elevating him to other things. And now he loses again. So, yeah, again, sometimes the overly scattershot booking of AEW can really doom it to an extent. All right, our next match is the Women's World Championship match. Mariah May versus Willow Nightingale. Right off the bat, Nightingale a nice hip toss and a body slam. May came back, had a big running drop kick. Nightingale immediately rebounded and hit a pounce. She hit, she bit Mariah May's ear, much to Nigel McGuinness's disgust. Nightingale hit back, had a spine buster, had a nice German suplex. She hit her DVD into the back corner of the corner ring post and dropped Mariah May right on top of her head. Like, the way you're supposed to do that is, the turnbuckles are supposed to take the brunt of the blow so that someone doesn't get dropped right on their head. Anyway, May came back, avoided a moonsault, hit a missile drop kick, hit the Mayday finisher, only got a 2 count. Nightingale hit a big lariat, hit another pounce. Then she she went for a pounce and got countered with a headbutt. And then Mariah May came back and hit the Storm Zero for the 3 count of the victory. This match was a lot better than I probably made it sound. It was really fun. I think it told a really good story. Obviously, they're probably setting up for Toni Storm to come back and face Mariah May one more time. I don't know if we're going to see a passing of the torch at any point, but something of that nature, obviously. I don't know if Storm will win it back. But yeah, I think that's where they're definitely leading to, especially since Mariah May used Toni Storm's finisher. So, yeah, I think that's where things are going here. Like I said, overall, very fun match, though. I do think, again, Willow Nightingale is someone who could easily be champion at this point. I think she's a centerpiece you could be building the division around. So I would like to see more of that happen with her. Okay, again, as we go on here, you might hear the ESPN theme go off as I'm talking about these matches. So, anyway, our next match was the TNT Championship match, Jack Perry versus Katsuyori Shibata. Right off the bat, Shibata had a nice takedown. Perry immediately rolled out of the ring. This was basically an attempt to goad Shibata into coming outside, which he did. Perry raked Shibata's eyes after he shrugged off a chop. After Shibata shrugged off a chop, Shibata came back, laid in several chops of his own. They fought on the outside of the ring. Perry avoided a drop kick and got suplexed into the ring apron. Perry avoided a running kick and locked on a snare trap. Shibata came back, hit a knee strike into a DDT. Locked on a sleeper, which Jack Perry immediately countered into a pinning predicament for the 3 count. So yeah, that was it. So you have a shocked and somewhat dismayed Kazuya Shibata, a very relieved Jack Perry, while Shibata was arguing with the ref about what happened. Perry attacked Shibata. Daniel Garcia's music hits. He runs to the ring. Perry powders. As that happens, MJF's music hits. He comes to the ring. He attacks Garcia, mocks him. Boy, I can't remember what he said. He got it on the microphone and said, he taught Michael out of the bidding war. That's it. Garcia said, he said there was a bidding war over here. Yeah, it's about more believable than mine. And as that happens, Adam Cole's music hits. He comes down, chases MJF off, which is, again, bizarre given everything that happened here. By the way, Jack Perry was somewhere around here in this. This is where this match falls apart. It was not a great match to start with. Again, nothing against performers, but again, this seemed less about Jack Perry being TNT and champion, which, again, I didn't expect him to lose the belt, okay, just for that aspect of it. Yeah, there could have been a great match in here, and we didn't get that, and I think that's the problem. And like I said, it seemed to be less about Jack Perry, TNT champion, and more about MJF, Daniel Garcia, MJF, and Adam Cole are back. And again, it's like you have Daniel Garcia come out for the save, but then you have MJF come out and attack Daniel Garcia, and then you have Adam Cole attack MJF. And of course, the funny thing about this is MJF had been champion, was attacked by Adam Cole, so was turned heel. MJF was the babyface. MJF comes back, turns heel, attacks Daniel Garcia, and now Adam Cole is the babyface and never got to really fulfill what he promised with his faction. So, again, the scattershot booking can really do these things sometimes. Our next match is the triple threat match for the International Championship, Will Ospreay versus Ricochet versus Konosuke Takeshita. Right off the bat, Ospreay and Ricochet were working together, trying to get Takeshita out of the ring. After a little reenactment of their famous Japanese meme between Ospreay and Ricochet, Takeshita had actually come back and hit a nice big dropkick to both men. They fought on the outside of the ring. Takeshita got a table out after hitting a DDT on the outside. Ricochet hit a neckbreaker DDT combo on both men. Ospreay hit a double handspring kick on both men. Takeshita hit a DVD on the apron. Again, kept trying to work the table in, couldn't quite do that. Ricochet countered a Stormbreaker into, oh boy, what did I write there? Oh, into a roll-up. He then hit a Gory Bomb. Ospreay avoided a 630, hit a Styles Clash. Takeshita interfered again. Takeshita hit a Blue Thunder Bomb. Eventually, they started to fight out towards the outside of the ring. Takeshita hit his Cradle Tombstone on Ricochet through the table on the outside. He got back in the ring, immediately ate a hidden blade from Ospreay. Ospreay went for another hidden blade, but Don Callis pulled the ref out of the ring as that happened. He got in the ring with a screwdriver, preparing to attack Ospreay, but then a hooded individual who was totally Kyle Fletcher, to the point that everyone identified him as Kyle Fletcher before he revealed himself to be Kyle Fletcher. He had a screwdriver of his own. He attacked his good buddy Will Ospreay, and Takeshita hit a running knee and got the 3 count for the victory. Afterwards, Fletcher hit Ospreay with the Tiger Driver 91. Yeah. Overall, I think this was a mostly entertaining match done in by a way, way, way too clunky ending. I would have rather, again, have Callis attack, with the screwdriver, don't make contact with it. Again, you can have Ospreay block it and then still eat a knee from Takeshita. That, I think, would have worked a lot better than you could have Fletcher come out, look like he's making the save. And instead, it just got way, way, way too clunky. And Ricochet completely vanished. Again, we're missing aspects of these bits here. And unfortunately, that's where this keeps falling apart. If any of that made sense. After that, we had the return of Swerve Strickland. Nana introduced him, and And I introduced him as the all-time greatest ROH champion. He was AEW champion. Anyway, he admits that, Swerve did come out and say, yeah, it's strange, I still don't have that belt. Also, yeah, it's also, I have been medically cleared, but admittedly, this might be karma. I've experienced the same things that Bryan Danielson has been feeling, and yeah, maybe it was karma for me mocking that. It's then that MVP and Shelton Benjamin came out. He said, hey, we've been friends for a long time. I know you're about your offer. I've always been inspired by you, but Nana and I are family. I'm not leaving. Shelton Benjamin came on the mic and said, that wasn't an offer, that was an order. And if you're expecting Bobby Lashley to show up, yeah, he didn't. So yeah, no Lashley. They got into a big scuffle. Security cleared the ring, and yeah, nothing, unfortunately, making this whole thing feel kind of pointless. Again, a show kind of falls apart again, unfortunately. Okay, our next match was the 2 out of 3 falls match between Hologram and Beast Mortos, the former Black Taurus, as you may have known him as. I believe it was in AAA? I know there was a bit of a rights kerfluffle, so he had to change it. Anyway, right off the bat, Hologram got the first fall. He hit a flying crucifix bomb for that one. Second fall naturally went to Taurus, who hit it after a double backbreaker and discus lariat. We then had several near falls. Hologram hit the flying crucifix bomb again. I want to say Taurus. Mordos hit a gorilla press slam off the top rope. He hit his discus lariat and backbreaker again. But eventually Hologram hit a blue thunder bomb for a 3 count of the victory. Not a terrible match, but I think this one maybe should have been... I would have switched this and maybe the Women's Championship match around. I think this one should have been earlier in the show. The crowd was kind of gassed and not really up for it. This didn't need to be 2 out of 3 falls. And they're making this big deal about how Mortos is with Jake Roberts now, and then Jake Roberts wasn't even there. It just felt really, really, bland, unfortunately. The next match after that was Brody King versus Darby Allin. Allin was literally praying in the corner during King's entrance. King immediately threw Allin out of the ring and then swung him into the barricade. King shrugged off a crossbody attempt, did a big chop, and then slammed him on the outside of the ring as well. King tossed Allin crashed Allin into the ring steps. I'm sorry. No, he crushed him under the ring steps. That's what I wrote there. Sorry. Allin avoided a cannonball in the corner. He landed a couple torpes. He had his big coffin drop. Allin hit a cold red. Allin started to get back into the match, and King came right back. He hit his elevated sleeper and then used that to hit German suplexes, 2 German suplexes off the top rope. Allin, he tried to go for another one where he was going to look like vertical suplex over the turnbuckle and then onto the ring steps. We're still on the outside there. And Allin shoved him, sending him into it. He then hit a coffin drop on the ring steps. Allin tried to get in the ring to get to the 10 count. Brody King barely beat it, but Allin got up and hit a coffin drop for the 3 count of the victory. Afterwards, King shook his hand. So, overall, not a bad match. Your typical Darby Allin car crash experiment there, but I do think it was reasonably restrained. Brody King looked like an absolute monster. Again, another guy that should probably be pushing a little bit more. Again, we have these lower tier titles. I think he could maybe have done with one of them, but again, since all those lower tier titles are around heels, I don't see that happening anytime soon unless Brody King turns babyface. Our next match is the Tag Team Championship match, the Young Bucks versus the Private Party, and this is where I have to confess, I've watched the Young Bucks for a long time, and I still have absolutely no idea who is Matthew and who is Nicholas. There are times they get it, and I think because occasionally will have different facial hairstyles. It can be easier, but then they change it, and sometimes it can be a long time since I've seen them. I just completely lose track. So if you hear me talking about the Young Bucks a lot during this, it's kind of because I didn't know who it was, except when it's brought up. Matthew got on the mic, mocked Private Party. He said, yeah, you got that win on the second ever Dynamite a few years ago, but yeah, everything's changed since then. He immediately got thrown out of the ring for everything. The Bucks hit a backstabber neckbreaker combo on the ramp. Zay from Quinn from Private Party hit a swanton. Zay hit a nice pop-up dropkick. Nicholas hit a flash dive to the outside of the ring. They fought along the ring barricade a little bit there. Zay went for a maneuver. I believe he hit a running dropkick into the... No, he hit a blockbuster in the ring barricade. Nicholas came back in a Canadian Destroyer. No, Zay hit a Poison Rana. That's what it was. It was a Poison Rana on the outside of the ring, but then Nicholas came back and hit a Canadian Destroyer over the ring barricade. They got an EVP trigger for 2. Private Party hit their Hurricane Rana into the cutter finisher. Didn't quite get it. At some point, Zay appeared to suffer some type of head injury. He was beginning to fight back and lay in blows, but then he got dizzy and kind of collapsed. And that enabled the Young Bucks to hit a EVP trigger and then the TK driver for the 3 count of the victory. Afterwards, the Bucks kind of cleared out of the ring. No beatdown afterwards, but the crowd did salute Private Party. It was nice, but yeah, it didn't seem to build on anything further. You would think Top Flight, who were shown to be in the front row, would have interfered at some point, but they really didn't. And again, overall, a good match, kind of done in by a very lackluster ending, in my opinion. Again, we should always take safety into account for these things. If I'm not saying Zay was legitimately injured, but if he was, I'm obviously for that. But at the same time, it's like, you were kept showing Top Flight in the front row. Don't you think that you should have interfered or attacked at the end of the match? Wouldn't that have made a tiny bit more sense? And then our next match was the Ring of Honor Championship match, Mark Briscoe versus Chris Jericho. Jim Ross came down for the commentary on this. There was no Code of Honor observance in this one. Right off the bat, Jericho hit a code breaker. Did not get anything on it. Briscoe hit a suplex. He went for the froggy elbow just a running elbow off the apron. The ref got distracted, and Big Bill hit a big boot and went for a powerbomb on the table, but then Orange Cassidy came to Mark Briscoe's aid. Jericho hit a nice suplex off the apron. Jericho on the top rope Frankensteiner. Briscoe came back, hit Jericho, raked Jericho's eyes, and then followed with a Fisherman Buster. He went for the froggy bow. Jericho countered that into a code breaker. Briscoe came back again a couple more times. Jericho went for the Judas effect and then got cocky and went for the J Driller, which he did hit, but it took way too long to pin. And once Mark Briscoe realized he'd been hit with the J Driller, he snapped, he attacked, he hit the Death Valley Driver, he hit the Froggy Bow, and the J Driller for the 3 count. This was a fun match. I think this definitely bolstered things up a little bit. Again, the show was really starting to sag at this point. I do think the way these two told the story really did pick things up. I'm kind of glad Jericho didn't win the ROH title. I think Jericho being a champion maybe needs to just stop now. Okay, he can be the elder statesman, he can do his learning tree stuff, he can always be look like a threat, but I don't think he should be a champion anytime again soon, especially an ROH champion. He's already done that once. Like I said, it just, that has kind of petered out a little bit. That being said, I do have to wonder who's going to face Mark Briscoe next. He's a good story, but even then, at some point, it has to end. Are the Blackpool Combat Club going to get back into this? Is someone else going to step up? Afterwards, we saw a lot of people, including Jerry Lynn and Hook, come up to Orange Cassidy and suggest that, hey, if you maybe focus yourself better, you could easily be champion. But again, I don't know where we're going with on that. He was a international champion for for a little over a year. He lost that. He won it back. He lost it again. It's like, again, like, if we're gonna work something like that into it, have him go after. Yeah, like, maybe that could work to something, but I don't know exactly how it's gonna work out. Yeah, so again, I don't know where Ring of Honor is going to be situated exactly in all of this. And that leads us into our main event, the AEW World Championship match between Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley. They got the final countdown playing again, so that was probably a foreshadowing. Right off the bat, Moxley jumped Bryan before he even entered the ring, or basically as he was entering the ring. They fought so he could get away with stuff. He choked Bryan with a cable. Bryan fought back, or Danielson fought back and choked him with a cable. Maria Shavir got involved. Moxley got a chair as they got back into the ring. Seemed to want to go after Danielson with a chair, but he got hit with a psycho knee into the chair back into his face. But Moxley came back, a thumb to the eye, hit a powerbomb on the Spanish announce table. Danielson's neck injury obviously is coming into play here. Shavir interfered, got some cheap shots on Danielson as Moxley distracted the ref. On the outside of the ring, she then tried to peel the ring padding back. It took a while, but eventually they got to the outside. Danielson body dropped Moxley on the exposed concrete. Danielson got a German suplex off the top rope. He had hooked his legs on there, so he didn't take any of the brunt of it. Moxley avoided a headbutt and slapped on the bulldog choke. Danielson fought back, landed some kicks. Shavir interfered and got kicked out for troubles. Danielson hit a psycho knee, put on the label lock. Moxley got to the ropes. Moxley hit the paradigm. They said it was the Death Rider. It was the paradigm shift on the exposed concrete. Death Rider is kind of like a brainbuster-esque maneuver. Paradigm shift is just the elevated double arm DDT. They fought back into the ring again. Danielson got the labella lock on one more time, but Moxley countered that into a rear naked choke. He had a Death Rider, only got a 1 count, but then Moxley locked on a sleeper again, and Danielson eventually passed out. Moxley got the body scissors on, and so Moxley is the champion. Afterwards, the Blackpool Combat Club hit the ring again. They intended to do the plastic bag stick again. Darby Allin and Wheeler Yuta hit the ring. That seemed to stop things. It was at this point that Wheeler Yuta attacked Darby Allin, and Moxley gave him the bag to use on Bryan Danielson to start choking him out. I will say this, in a slightly better move than last time, Danielson had a finger up near his chin so that the bag was not pulling a full over, so he wasn't completely looking like he was suffocating. They then Pillmanized Danielson as a bunch of the baby faces hit the ring and everyone cleared out. Danielson then got stretched out. His career is technically over, his full-time career, he said, once he lost the championship. And by the way, if you're expecting Shane McMahon to show up, he didn't. So, whatever they were building to, and again, this is kind of my problem with this. Moxley's been a 3-time champion already. Could we have found someone else? Again, I thought we were building Hangman Page to be the one to do this. What about Christian Cage and his casino chip? Are we going to build to, again, Danielson maybe making one more stab, beating Moxley within an inch of his life, then Cage can cash in? Darby Allin, is he the next one? I mean, Darby Allin got duct taped and beaten up as well. Like I said, then, like Orange Cassidy, I think Will Ospreay was in there too, Private Party, a few others. Here's the problem too. Too many heel factions in AEW right now. You have Blackpool Combat Club who are heels. You have the Elite who are heels. Premier Athletes. Dark Order. Who else? Whatever MVP's building whenever Bobby Lashley gets there. Hurt Business, Beatdown Clan, Hurt Down Clan. beat business, whatever. Again, like, can we have some good guys? Like, it's just can we either have we have the conglomeration, and that's about it. That's like the only good guy faction right now. Oh, the Callis family. I forgot about the Callis family. Again, it's just, again, you're running things into the ground with heel turns is just my problem with this. And again, I have no problem with Moxley being a heel. Like, he's technically been a heel the last year. I don't know what exactly happened. You know, like I said, I've been out for a while on that. But yeah, but again, like, we're running out of things to do. Like, we never really got to pan out the Adam Cole, Wardlow, Roderick Strong, Matt Taven, I'm forgetting everyone, Mike Bennett thing. That faction, which I guess is gone now. Like I said, Wardlow is completely vanished. Chris Statler returns heel, and then it's just AEW is getting a little bogged down in their own minutia. I really wish they would streamline things a little bit more. Again, let's try to push more people into newer things. Again, we need to have a babyface champion somewhere at some point. So, could Okada maybe lose the Continental Championship to someone? Kyle O'Reilly would be fine. Orange Cassidy would be fine. Someone, again, we need a babyface champion. Right now, we have no babyface champions. So, and I literally mean no babyface champions, unless you count Mark Briscoe with the Ring of Honor Championship. So, yeah, you're seeing the point. Like, you're not filling people with a lot of hope. I don't know where exactly you're going to go with this. I'm guessing you're building to Darby Allin winning. Again, but there's still Christian Cage out there. So, yeah, could that lead to something? It's not really piquing my interest too well. Overall, the show is not necessarily bad. Just, again, way too much clunkiness, match overkill, disappointments, again, given that everyone was expecting Bobby Lashley and or Shane McMahon to show up. Neither of that happened. So, yeah, again, things that could have maybe helped make this a bit more memorable and a true WrestleDream, it really didn't. Overall, like I said, the matches for the most part were good, just with bad, clunky finishes. The only match I would say, again, didn't really need to be on there was maybe like that 8-man tag and the 2 out of 3 falls match. That, like, I'm all for Hologram having a match, but just have a match. It doesn't need to be 2 out of 3 falls. It didn't need the stipulation. So, yeah. Overall, I'm going to give WrestleDream 2024 a C+, I think. Yeah, I've been talking myself down. Like I said, overall, I was enjoying most of it. Just, again, clunkiness kept dooming it. And I can't be kind enough to give it a B, but I think a C might be too low. So C+, I think, is a decent enough grade for it. Okay, so obviously it's going to be Sunday when this goes up because it's almost midnight right now. So yeah, this will be up Sunday, hopefully soon. And then the next video is going to be football predictions. It's football predictions videos the next 2 weeks. Don't know when the next wrestling video is going to be. I'll probably have something in one of those football predictions videos. See you all next time.
Hey guys, remember you can help me maintain and possibly even expand my professional wrestling coverage by supporting me on Patreon at patreon.com/sleepytimeforcat productions. Also, remember to like the video, comment, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell.